off with
What do you mean he's got dissociative identity disorder?
I've been explaining it for the past 15 minutes. If you weren't following me, why didn't you say something before?
Oh no, I'm following fine. It just seemed like a convenient time to summarise everything in a few short sentences. Know what I mean?
Okay, so as a summary for
Well,
us.
Kyle is suffering from a rare psychological disorder, characterized by the presence of 2 distinct personalities. Kyle's own personality has been subjugated by his Purple Patriot alter ego. The Kyle persona is still present, and at moments of extreme relaxation, he does revert to it. However, the Purple Patriot persona remains dominant, and returns whenever he gets
So he's 2 drachmas short of €1 then?
He's actually very lucid, and when the Kyle persona takes control, he has all of the personality traits and all of the memories of Kyle.
Awesome.
It will be exactly like talking to your friend. When the Purple Patriot persona is dominant, he believes that Kyle does not exist, and is merely a secret identity he has created in order to prevent his superhero identity being discovered.
Have you tried pointing out that anyone who was inventing a secret identity would come up with an alter ego with a job and fashion sense?
Unfortunately, DID patients are typically immune to reason.
A bit like Tea Party supporters. Got it.
DID, so. Okay, so let's talk to first marketing difficulty. How can Kyle be treated?
So what kind of treatment regime is available for Kyle?
Good question.
Unfortunately, there's very little consensus on treatment for DID. There are a range of different psychotherapy options available, but recovery can be a long and complicated process.
We're missing a trick here, aren't we?
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
I'm not a medical man, but I've watched enough TV to know that all we have to do is just hit him on the head again and his memory will come back.
Yeah. All the concussions
What?
he had.
Kyle's psychological breakdown wasn't actually caused by the repeated head injuries.
What?
It must have been. I saw this trope coming a mile away.
Exactly.
Kyle's skull is incredibly thick and amazingly resilient. Despite all of the head impacts, his brain didn't receive any physical trauma whatsoever.
Well, what happened to him then?
Well, we think it might have been all the painkillers I gave him every time he banged his head. Turns out they had some side effects we didn't know about.
Well, that's charming, innit? Not content with trying to have him bumped off every time he bumped his head, now you've given him multiple personalities. Anything else you'd like to do to him while you've got him in the hospital? Perhaps a quick sex change operation. Although, come to think of it, if he had breasts, he'd never leave the apartment.
Don't blame
Naturally, the studio are extremely distressed at the undesirable and completely unpredictable consequences of taking those painkillers.
him. You mentioned the studio?
The studio? What's the studio got to do with any of this?
Question.
I'm contracted by the studio. As such, they are offering a substantial amount of compensation to help Kyle's rehabilitation and recovery.
How substantial?
Probably only
$10 million.
10
Oh, well that's not too... How much?
Yeah. Repeat that.
Of course, he would have to sign a waiver indicating that he doesn't hold the studio responsible for any lapses in our usual standards of medical care he may have experienced during his visit.
Yeah, well, that's no problem. We all make mistakes, don't we? Where do I have to sign?
Exactly.
The production company has offices in Chelsea. They'll take care of all the paperwork for you.
So how is Kyle doing?
How's Kyle doing?
Physically, he's very well. In fact, he's kind of a lot better than normal.
Not sure I follow, love.
Well, his psychological condition appears to have manifested itself through some kind of faith-based physical augmentation.
I like to think I'm an intelligent chap, but you might have to dumb that down a little bit. Imagine you're talking to Kyle. Well, not quite that dumb, somewhere in between.
When his Purple Patriot persona is ascendant, he believes he has superpowers. He believes that he has super strength, that he can fly, and that he has an uncanny ability to look good in spandex.
Yeah, so we have to be careful he doesn't do anything stupid like try to stop a speeding juggernaut or jump off a high building.
Well, actually, no. He really is exhibiting those powers.
Did you just tell me that Kyle can fly? Have you been sucking on a broken biro?
It's
Okay,
quite
so
unusual, I'll admit. But it seems that his sense of self-belief is so strong that his body's actually responding.
So Kyle really is a superhero.
So technically, Kyle is now a superhero.
I suppose technically that's true, but
So in that case, your grounds for holding him have gone. You can't claim he's delusional if he really has the powers he thinks he has.
we're working on the assumption that his superpowers are just the physical manifestation of his psychological condition.
So basically, you're manipulating the diagnosis to keep hold of him as long as possible.
What a strange thing to suggest.
That's accurate, though. Well, is he still raving?
Is he still raving that immigrants, homosexuals and women are destroying America?
We've managed to calm him down a little.
You mean you've pumped him full of horse tranquilizers, don't you?
Of course not. That would be unethical.
It's elephant
And horse
tranquilizers.
tranquilizers are not even authorized for use on humans. How dare you?
Alright, sorry.
Although, when you visit him, you may want to take along a pocket full of sugar cubes. He loves them.
So, has the calming stopped him from raving like a madman?
Not entirely. He still insists on calling me either Toots or Dollface. And I won't even begin to tell you what he calls Dr. Sangupta.
I do apologise for him. He's not normally like that at all. He's a very tolerant person when he's Kyle, even if only because he's too lazy to be intolerant.
It may be a side effect of the psychosis. He believes the Purple Patriot feels a huge sense of patriotism. That patriotism may be driving him to have these negative emotions.
Yeah, I guess patriotism can cause that, but will I be able to visit him?
Can I visit him? They let me stay with him for a couple of hours when we was taken to the hospital, but after that they gave me the bum's rush.
I'm sorry, we don't permit visitors during the initial evaluation phase. It interferes with the patient's recovery.
How long does the evaluation phase last?
Depends how much insurance he's got.
Unless it was ever given away as part of the Happy Meal, I'd wager he has none whatsoever.
In this case, the studio is picking up the bill. They have a lot of insurance.
You're really milking this for all it's worth, aren't you?
Yeah, they
I have no idea what you're talking about.
longer.
Well, I'm sure you have lots to do. Patients won't just kill themselves.
I should get
Depends on
back
what
to the
what
hospital.
ward you're working
We've
in.
scheduled Kyle for a series of x-rays this afternoon.
And these x-rays might give some indication of the nature of his condition, might they?
I guess they might. We just got a new x-ray machine. It's a shame not to use it, especially when the studio's picking up the tab.
Jeez.
It's no wonder everyone's going to Cuba to get medical treatment these days. There's less corruption over there.
Probably cheaper, too. Okay, I heard something banging. Loud banging noise coming from somewhere nearby. It sounds urgent, so you better find out where it's coming from. Okay.
We typically keep the blinds closed. Not being able to get any sunlight is a small price to pay for not being able to see the decaying wasteland that we laughingly refer to as our neighbourhood.
Good
There's a
idea.
dull thumping sound coming from outside.
That is not a good thing. Especially since I planted on floor. So let's see what's out there.
I suppose there's no alternative.
What the heck are you doing out there?
What the hell are you doing out there?
If I break the window, old chum, I fear we would lose our security deposit.
As interesting as that would ordinarily be, I really need to do something about the fat purple man clinging to our window ledge and the last remaining shreds of his sanity.
Good point, good point. There's some stuff on the window that I can't pronounce that leather, and the bottle of window clean is not going to remove. We should find a way to let the Purple Patriot into our apartment.
It's true that there are 1,000 places I'd rather be right now, but I can't very well go out and leave Captain DID standing on our window ledge. Somebody will catch sight of him from the street and think Barney's about to commit suicide.
Okay. So I can do something with the windows, it looks like. Let's use the window then.
How exactly are we going to do this?
Very carefully, if I get any say in the matter.
Alright, well hold on tight because it rotates.
I know that. Get on with it already.
Wow. Now that's power phasing. As the window phases repeatedly.
I thought you were still in the hospital.
I sneaked out while Nurse Julie was doing her rounds.
Didn't anyone notice the empty bed?
I've left a neat little pile under the sheets.
Good idea. You might not have time to go later.
Awesome. Okay, so this is a good place to leave it for this episode since we've got Kyle back.